A warning to the rest of the world. Now here's why. So let me ask you a question. If you gave a country the second largest landmass on Earth, planted it directly on top of the world's third largest proven oil reserves, surrounded it with 20% of the planet's fresh surface water, handed it a border with the richest economy in the history of humanity, and filled its universities with world-class researchers, and then asked it to build a thriving civilization, how badly could that country mess up? It had everything going for it.
How bad can they screw it up, says Jack Chappell. In this episode of The Surge Effect, I'm going to show you a couple of things just to you realize how bad Canada can get screwed up, depending on the government that's in charge. So buckle up. Here we go. All right, this first video I'm going to show you is Frank Terrazzano from the Canadian Taxpayers Association. And he's going to talk about gas prices. Here we go.
Conservative Party leader Pierre Poilievre is calling on the federal government to cut gas taxes to provide relief, and he's absolutely right. Okay, the fastest, simplest, easiest way for governments in Canada to help make life more affordable is just to stop taking so much money in the first place. So the federal government needs to cut gas taxes, end all carbon taxes, and end the sales tax on tax. Look, federal gas taxes alone cost about 25 cents per liter of gas, which means that if you're fueling up your minivan, you're paying almost 20 bucks in federal gas taxes every time you fuel up, right? So Poilievre is right. Cut gas taxes right now. You have other countries that are already doing it, right? So we need our federal government to also cut gas taxes. But it doesn't just stop there, right? Because provincial governments, even some cities, are charging.
Other countries are doing it. I'm going to talk about that just in 1 second. Just going to drop off that video, and I'm going to drop another one in its place. Here we go.
Did you know that in Canada you pay up to 7 different types of taxes when you fill up your car? There is a provincial excise tax, carbon tax, transit tax, provincial sales tax, federal sales tax, federal excise tax, and my favorite, tax on tax.
Tax on tax.
You won't see this breakdown on your receipt, by the way. So if you fill up your 64-liter tank, your true cost before tax is only $68, but you will also have to pay $38 in taxes. That brings your total cost to $106. Since the federal carbon tax will continue to increase every year until 2030, assuming everything else stays the same, your taxes will increase from $38 to $63. Follow for more Canadian tax tips.
Isn't that great? Just keeps jumping up. So obviously that's one way how the Liberal government can screw us over. So like I was saying about the countries that have dropped their taxes, Frank Terrazzano said the same thing in regards to that. So here we go. You got Australia. They cut their fuel tax April 2nd. Spain, Italy, Poland, Portugal, Germany. Oh, and Canada raised its industrial carbon tax March 26. So I guess they stuck it to Canadians. We didn't really get a tax break, did we? No, we did not. Unbelievable. So we're going to move on here to another video. Fella talking about Canada just a little bit and how the population becomes dumbed down in Canada.
Morale in Canadian society is at an all-time low unless you're drinking the Kool-Aid. There's so many people out there that are running a script saying that the government is doing everything they can to help them. But when you have billions of dollars of debt being sent to other nations in the form of aid, and the companies providing that aid are linked to the politicians, then sadly it's the Canadian taxpayer that's financing the wealthy living of the top echelon of society, which is actually supposed to be serving us, the citizens. And the greatest lie I feel
that's right. How true.
ever been told to us is that we're free. How can you be free if you live in fear? Fear of, am I going to be able to pay my mortgage? Am I going to be able to pay my rent? Can I afford food? Meanwhile, most of your money is being eaten up by interest and you don't even realize it, unless, of course, you're just doing your minimum payments on your debts. That's just part of the problem.
Exactly. That's just part of the problem. There are so many problems in Canada. It's ridiculous. Let's hear what Tucker Carlson has to say. He dropped a video the other day.
If Brazil's important...
Let's see what he has to say.
And then you think, well, if Brazil's important, What about Canada and Mexico, which are literally on our borders, which are huge energy producers? Canada has far more oil than the United States, far more fresh water than the United States. Canada is the fourth biggest oil reserves in the world. How much do Americans know about Canada? Well, Canada happens to be falling apart as a nation, completely falling apart. It's in a state of domestic chaos. It's become a police state under the influence of China. Canada, the country with which we share the longest border. Our most critical ally on the globe is Canada, the country we ignore. How many Americans know what its capital is or how to pronounce it? Probably under half. Canada is the single most important relationship that we have. It has always been our largest trading partner.
They are our largest trading partner, but people would have you believe that we're not. Almost 80% of all our import-export is with the States. It's not with China, not with Europe. It's with the States. Look it up.
But going forward, as American influence recedes to our hemisphere, what happens in Canada matters more than anything else. Maybe we should think about that. Maybe we should try to exert some influence on Canada, not necessarily by force, though by force if necessary. You could certainly make a regime change argument about Canada. Talk about a country that's oppressing its own citizens, killed almost 100,000 of them through its state-sponsored killing program, MAIDS.
1 in 20 deaths, 1 in 20 in Canada last year was from MAID. Check that out. Statistic information.
You could make a human rights case to invade Canada, not that we should, but if ever there was a people that needed liberation from a government that hates them, it's the Canadians, of course. But you could make a case based on self-interest and regional interest, even on decency, to have a lot more positive influence on the internal affairs of Canada than we currently do. Canada's not a...
Now, Tucker just said, that about hate. Interesting choice of words that he used there, because our government just pushed through a bill through our House, and it was a Bill C9, hate speech bill in Canada here. That was the yays and nays when it went through our House. 186 to 140 nays. 186 yays, 140 nays. Obviously, the yays took it, and this is going to be the hate speech bill that is now going to our Senate, and they will read it in the Senate and go over it and see if they pass it in our Senate. If they do, it'll become law. But there's Carney, of course. He voted against it. Or for it, I'm sorry. Carney voted for it to have it. And, of course, Pierre Poilievre and Melissa Lantsman, who are PCs, voted against it. They don't want to impose this hate speech bill upon its Canadian citizens. And you're wondering, oh, well, how bad could it be? What is it all about? Well, here's a video of Patrick Bet-David, podcast in the States, and who's have a clip of on his show? Mark Miller from Canada in our House. And this is what Patrick Bet-David said on April the 4th in regards to the hate speech.
Canada just, in 2025, I won't say October, maybe even earlier than that, a couple guys, this guy right here, they started working on saying some of the stuff in the Bible is hate speech. Okay? Truly. Some of the stuff in the Bible is hate speech. And here's what he had to say. Go for it, Rob.
In this case, the Bible, but there are other religious texts that say the same thing. And somehow say that this is good faith. I mean, clearly there are situations in these texts where these statements are hateful. They should not be used
in the Bible.
Blasphemy. Or be a defense, and there should perhaps be discretion for prosecutors to press charges. I just want to understand what your notion of good faith is in this context where there are clearly...
Yeah, when you have a country without a constitution, this is what happens. I mean, they don't have the First Amendment.
Let me read this, and then I'm going to come to you. Let me read this, and I'm going to come to you. So you're hearing this, okay? So here we go. Canada wants to make quoting the Bible illegal. This is The Spectator, 2 days ago. Easter's almost here, and Canada's Liberal government has chosen the sacred season to display its utter contempt for Christianity. It's currently forcing through the outrageous Bill C-9, which could make it a hate crime to quote from the sections of the Bible. More than 40 civil and religious groups have asked that for the bill's language be clarified and its scope more carefully defined so that religious texts would not be subject to hate crime legislation, but all in vain. After a hot debate in the House of Commons, the Liberals high-handedly ended a conservative filibuster. In fact, fast-tracked the bill. It's now been sent to the Senate to decide if Canada is a kind of a country that wants to turn quoting St. Paul into a criminal act.
You look at Canada during COVID, they were going after churches like crazy. And again, I think this is bigger than politics. I think it's spiritual. I think that Canada has an attack on truth across the board. The world is seeing an attack on truth across the board. Tom has been touching on it. And I think it's a spiritual war. If you can destroy the idea of gender, if you can destroy the idea of man having value, woman having value, the sanctity of a child. Like, when you think about how out of control abortion is, all these things, and now they're attacking the very scripture that's meant to be spread to protect against those evils. They're doing it for a reason. And that's the thing I fear most in the world. And I think people are met now with a binary. Anyone watching, you're met with a binary choice now. You're either going to go down the path of moral relativism, which will lead you to nihilism, a complete destruction of truth, and it will leave you in a void that is empty, a dark void. It will lead to depression. We're seeing it. It will lead to anxiety. It'll lead to all the nihilistic behavior we're seeing, or you will head to a path of truth. And I think the only light I see in all of this is because of these blatant open attacks on Christianity that we're not only seeing in Canada, we've even seen it in our own country. They've gone after churches in our own country. I think the only benefit to all this is that as that becomes so binary, you really do have a choice. The choice is presented to you by God now. You will either follow me or you will follow that.
Canada just, in 2025, I won't say...
That's just part of Bill C-9. I'm going to show you some videos here from the UK as well as Canada. And this is people posting on social media and how this is going to pertain to Bill C-9. So listen to some of these.
Look at this here, everybody. 6-armed police locking Lee up for Facebook posts. What an utter joke.
Well, the joke
Can you believe this?
Is that everyone's on police here, so if you could counter it better, that would be, you know, it's probably funny what you're posting, wouldn't it?
It's a joke. Yeah. Utter joke.
Jokes are funny.
Absolute, utter pathetic joke.
Jokes are funny. Racist public order isn't funny.
Prove it. Show me a post what is put what's racist.
Well, there is some proof, apparently.
All right.
Hello, everybody.
Are you satisfied spoiling people's holidays?
Well, are you satisfied?
All for a Facebook post.
Let's say this allegation is true. Would you be satisfied?
So there's 6 police there. That's in the UK there in Scotland. Sounds like it. And it's a Facebook post. 6 police are there to arrest somebody because they made a Facebook post. Here's another one in the UK. Sorry, this is actually in Canada. This actually happened in Canada. Listen up. Unbelievable.
There's some allegations that you've made some online posts to the Prime Minister of Canada. You have anything to say about that?
Can you be more specific? What post? What I specifically said? Do you have a screenshot?
Yeah, you specifically said, and you made it online.
Well, because, I mean, he's a Zionist scumbag, and he's not my prime minister, so...
Okay.
But really, you're going to come to my door, and you're worried that I'm going to do something? Do I seriously look like a threat to you?
So that's why we came to talk, right? So those threats are made...
You know what? You guys should be busy taking care of actual real crime than standing here harassing me over fucking shit I say online.
I understand, but...
Okay, yeah, no. Don't be wasting tax dollars doing this bullshit.
Nicole, if such behavior continues, if there is...
What are you going to do? Put me in jail because I don't like our prime minister?
No, but if you made some threats...
So this is what it's going to come to, everybody. I mean, you might... think it's not going to happen, but it's happening all over the UK. Why? Because they have these laws in the UK. They passed the hate speech law. So if you say something that somebody doesn't like, could be you next. So here's another video. Check this one out.
2023, 1440, arresting you on suspicion of improper use of the electronic Communications Network.
What?
127 of the Communications Act, okay? So you do not have to say it. It may harm your defence if you don't mention one question, separate which later on in court. Anything you do say may be given evidence. Do you understand that?
So I'm actually being arrested?
You're going to be arrested, okay?
Right.
And back to the police station.
Right.
Okay, this is in relation to some comments that you've made on a Facebook page.
Comments on a Facebook page.
Okay.
Oh, really? Oh, it's a Facebook crime, is it?
Okay.
Right.
So we need to ask you some questions about that.
Right.
Have you got anything in your pockets?
I've got my keys. I've got... No, that's about it, I think. Keys.
So, anyone who's been arrested, we can search them under Section 32 of the Policing and Murder Act.
Right.
That's for dangerous items.
I mean, you said I was going to be arrested under some what information? I'm going to be arrested for posting on Facebook.
Some comments that are offensive, obscene, and people have made a complaint about that, and it's.
And can you tell me what this comment was?
Okay, well we'll do that when we interview.
All right. And so, what am I going to be locked up for the night?
Isn't that something? Once again, you don't think it's going to happen. Think again. Here is another clip. One more.
You can
listen to what transpires on this one here. Watch and listen.
You can come in, but you better have a damn good reason for being here. I'm a member of the Free Speech Union, and I'm an American citizen. I'll have Elon Musk on you so quick your feet won't touch.
Something that we believe you've written on Facebook has upset someone.
You're here because somebody got upset. Is it against...
This lady is an American. They're in Britain. She wrote something on Facebook that offended someone.
The law. Am I being arrested?
You're not being arrested.
Then what are you doing here?
My plan was, if you were admitting that it was you who wrote the comment, you could just make an apology to the person.
I'm not apologizing to anybody. I can tell you that.
The alternative would be that I have to call you in for an interview. I'm here to talk to you about the allegation. They've reported it to the police.
So what?
Obviously, we get a lot of reports like that.
Are there no houses that have been burgled recently? No rapes? No murders?
Yeah, that's all going on as well. That's been.
Well, then why aren't you out there doing, investigating those?
Because I've got to investigate everything that gets reported.
Well, you're not investigating houses being burgled.
No, that's not my job today. Would you like to have a look at the comment that I'm...
I don't need to. I know exactly the things I've said. You know how many people in this neighborhood have been broken into?
I don't look after this neighborhood.
No, of course you don't, unless there's a tweet, then you do. So what? I haven't broken any laws. So you're going to be wasting your time when you can be, instead, doing things that are more important.
That's why I wanted to just come to you directly, have a chat about it.
No. You should not be doing this. I'm a cancer patient. You can see that because I'm bald.
I didn't know that before.
Isn't that something, right? So, like I said, that's just part of what Bill C-9 is, and that's just part of this, what's going to come down here in Canada when this goes through our Senate, if it becomes law. But what you can do as a Canadian citizen is write your senators' email, find them, and fire off emails to the senators and tell them your thoughts on that bill. So you're talking about taxation for Canadians, which is insane. Now you're talking about our freedoms with the Bill C-9 being taken away, being stripped away slowly, just like they did with our news. We can't see certain things, read certain things, or say certain things. It's already started slowly. Our freedoms are being stripped from us. And now they want to take guns from Canadians. So I'm going to show you a little clip of a fellow talking a little bit about that. Listen to what he has to say.
Every single time tyrants come to power, the first thing that they do is disarm their population. Canada's gun grab, led by Gary Andrasapi, a man who was born in Sri Lanka and is now telling millions of Canadians they're required to turn in their legally purchased firearms, have been a complete failure. Canadians understand that their civil liberties, their rights that our ancestors fought for, are not just to be summarily given away due to some bureaucrats, many of whom were not even born in this country, and understand what a battle it was to get the freedom that we currently have. The government of Canada has now spent over $1 billion to confiscate 50,000 weapons from Canadians of the 2 million they're currently attempting to confiscate.
So why would they want to do that? Ask yourself that. Leave it in the comments. Why would they want to do that? Take away Canadians' weapons. Why? This is what tyrants do. This is what dictators do, right? You take away people's ability to defend themselves. Unlike in the States, they have the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, so they can go against their government if their government goes against the people. People are in power. People have the power. Government doesn't have the power. It's the other way around, right? So that gentleman was just talking about Gary. Barely say his last name. When Gary is in charge of all this. And listen to the back and forth in our house with Gary. Here we go.
Does the minister know what an RPAL is?
No, Minister, I do not. Remember.
One minister asked Gary if he knows what an RPAL is. And Gary says he does not. Gary's the one that wants to take people's guns.
Does the minister know what the CFSC is?
I'm a minister. I do not know. Member.
I'll stipulate, Chair, that is the Canadian firearm safety course that all gun owners in Canada have to do to get their firearms license. Has the minister ever done the Canadian firearm safety course?
The Honourable Minister.
Speaker, it's my third week on the job. No, I have not.
The Honourable Member.
Does the minister know what safety classes and safety demands are expected of law-abiding Canadian gun owners?
The Honourable Minister.
This is not about law-abiding gun owners, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Member.
How can the minister make that claim when he doesn't know the basic fundamentals of law-abiding gun ownership in this country, Chair?
Keep in mind, Gary, he is the guy that wants to confiscate people's guns in Canada. Doesn't even know what a firearms certificate is. He has no idea. So here the Liberals are the ones that are doing this. And for some reason, Canadian citizens think the Liberals are the end-all and be-all. But they're brainwashed, right? Because they've been told a narrative. They've been told something over and over and over again, like I've said in my podcast before in regards to Joseph Goebbels, who was the propagandist minister for Hitler in World War II. You tell people over and over enough the same thing or a lie, they'll begin to believe it. The masses begin to believe it. So they had a $2,000 a plate dinner the other night, and Rebel News showed up. David Menzies showed up to ask some questions to the people that were going into this dinner, $2,000 plate dinner, in regards to the Liberals and, what they thought that Liberals have done for Canadians. Just listen to some of these.
Going to the Liberal fundraising dinner? Yes. Okay, then. Can you make the case for the Mark Carney Liberals, sir?
No.
No?
No.
Okay, I don't blame you. Can you make the case for Mark Carney?
No, sorry, guys.
Oh, you can't? Okay. Can you make the case for the Mark Carney Liberals?
That's up to Mark Carney to make for you.
Oh, really? Are you going to the Liberal fundraising dinner?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Can you make the case for the Mark Carney Liberals, sir?
I'm sorry, no comment.
Oh, okay. How's the elbows up thing going?
Oh, it's going great, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you give me a tangible sign of an achievement?
I know I don't travel to the United States. I haven't since the end of COVID.
Oh, okay.
And when I shop on Amazon, I look for Canadian products.
How about yourself, ma'am? Now, I guess the game plan is we're going to see if we can come in like the state-sponsored media to cover the fundraiser. I have a bad feeling that's not going to happen. In the meantime, maybe we can talk in the parking lot with the Carney Liberal supporters. I'd really like to see them make the case for Mark Carney in their own words. Let's see what we find out.
So if you want to see that in its entirety, slip on over to Rebel News on their website on YouTube and check out what David Menzies did. David did a great job of interviewing people going in. I actually watched the full interview. He was on for, 30, 40 minutes. They finally kicked him off the property like they always do. They always say it's a private event and blah, blah, blah. Because they don't want people to see what's really going on. They don't want to see people hear what's really going on. And they whisk them away, So with the Liberals, for instance, I've always said, what's your reasoning behind supporting them. Why would you want to support them? They make your life better. They make it worse. Real simple. So right now, this is a 1-year report card basically for Carney. No homes built. Food inflation 6.2%. Our inflation for food is through the roof. General inflation through the roof. Unemployment through the roof. They just lost almost 100,000 jobs like a month ago. Unemployment. No U.S. trade deal. Zero. Of course, the Kuzma, but that was before him. But he would make you believe that he did that deal. He did not. It was the people before him. We have record deficits here in Canada. No new pipelines. Our GDP per capita, down. And our investment capital, down. But what he's doing is he's poking Trump to maintain a hate of 100% hate. Right? Orange man bad. So that he can boost his liberals and he can get his majority government because that's what he wants. See? He's playing Canadians. Playing them. And the people that are weak-minded or not paying attention will fall for this trap. Canadians have fallen for this thing 4 or 5 times now in the last 4 or 5 elections. Fear. Pierre Poilievre was putting forth hope. Carney put out fear. Guess who won? Fear. Pierre Poilievre wants to have a free society, one of the freest societies on the planet. That's hope. But people just, call him PP and call him all kinds of bad names, which is just bullshit. That's all it is. Last thing I'm going to show you is a clip of Pierre Poilievre when he was on a podcast just a few days ago, and it was phenomenal. It was actually better than, in my personal opinion, it was better than the Rogan podcast, just because it showed a lot of different sides of Pierre Poilievre. This was towards the end of the podcast, and this is what the podcast host had to say to Pierre.
Thank you so much. Thank you
sir.
for taking the time to come have this conversation with me and answering all of my questions. I don't like interviewing politicians because they are very slippery.
Right.
And they slip and slide away from answering things in a way that makes the very essence of why we started this show feel like we're not delivering for the audience who want to know the truth, whether it's ugly or indifferent or whatever it might be. And I've really enjoyed the conversation because I feel like you answered my questions to the best of your ability.
Thank you.
And that's not usually the case with politicians. And
Thank you.
I think they think that's the right approach. But actually, I think in a world that's now more of a glass box than ever before, and not a black box where you can paint the image of something on the outside, being transparent and being willing to come into these environments. And your team didn't tell me anything was off limits. They didn't say there was anything I couldn't ask you.
Right.
They didn't ask to be able to edit this. And I would like more politicians to follow in that vein.
There you go. They weren't constricted to ask him anything, and they asked anything they wanted to him for that whole podcast. And he answered all the questions, and he answered them all bang on. Like I said, great podcast, and really delved into his private life, his upbringing. He's a really decent human being, and simple. He just wants freedom. Freedom, just like the shirt I wear right here. Freedom over fear. Don't let fear grip you, right? You got to listen to what Pierre's talking about as far as, lowering our taxes, opening up the floodgates for our oil, because we have a majority of it on this planet. We can actually give the planet oil for 200 years just from Canada alone. That's how much oil we have. The whole planet, 200 years. Anyway, that's it for today's podcast, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and it helps with the algorithm because I say certain things on my podcast, and sometimes I swear, and sometimes I say certain things. There's certain words you're not supposed to say because YouTube doesn't allow it. I could say a few of them, but then they end up striking my channel. That's just the way it works. YouTube, they want control of what people say, so you can't say certain words. Anyway, it helps with the algorithm. Like, share, subscribe. Much appreciated. And until next time, everyone, have yourself a great day. And don't forget, keep moving forward. Everyone's going through some shit. You got to keep moving forward. That's what it's all about. Till next time, everyone. Cheers.